Okay? Now, people say what they want about Donald Trump, and this is what he has: a new deal for the urban American community. He wants safe community, trades at work and tax reform, African black history to be taught, new infrastructure, develop state-of-art schools and choice, urban revitalization, and protection from illegal immigration. Now, what he's done recently, he has a place-based initiative that he started with Department of HUD. And what they're doing, they've hired people in the Department of HUD to go out to all these communities and stuff, to get with nonprofit organizations, to start bringing resources in these organizations so they start helping some of these inner cities, whatever. But you guess what? It's so good, nobody ever talks about that. Another thing they'll talk about, remember the water crisis that took place in Missouri? Yeah. You never hear about that anymore, do you? No. Because it's been taken care of. This is what happened. Now, President Obama and his administration, thank God what they did, they approved the funding, okay? But EPA said, you know, this could be a 5-year, 7-year project, whatever project going to be, because we got to make sure that you guys not, you know, killing snails and stuff in the process. Oh, President Trump got in and found out about this, whatever. I think it was 2 months later in March, whatever. He said, you release that money to them communities right now, over $100 million. Another thing he did too, they hired a black woman contractor to take care of the water problem they have, was hiring now people in the community and stuff to do that work. That's why you don't hear anything about it, because it's a good thing going on.
Is that, you said it was Missouri? Or
Missouri, they had the water.
Or was it Michigan?
Michigan. Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Flint, Michigan.
Okay,
no, one of them M's, Flint, Michigan.
Okay, just
okay. Now, you hear something about this Jim Crow versus Wine Crow. Oh. So the Spanish say they have Wine Crow now, that, you know, we just the most horrible people, the way we not taking care of them. I said, has anybody stopped even going to school? Okay? You got Mexican water fountains and bathrooms I don't know about, okay? Do they want you to sit back of the bus? And the main thing too, who's hanging you? Who's lynching you? Don't you dare put us in your mouth like you where we are, okay? No. Everybody is the new black. Orange is a new black, Mexican new black. I heard the other day that the Muslims are new black, you know, jihadis are, everybody. I said, nobody's a new black. You keep your group, do what you do, but don't. What happens is that people come over here, they attach themselves to black Americans, and soon they suck the life out of us, they go on about their business.
Linda Sassour said she's black.
Oh, brother.
I think I went this right.
How about she's a black eye?
Okay. Now, this is just some population choice things that are happening here in California, and they just projected from 1970 to 2040 what was going to happen. 7% increase in people, 25 million people, okay, 24 million people, okay. Total population U.S., they said another increase about 37%, 102 million more people. Okay, now this is broken down by race, by group, okay? So you see here in 1970, where we were, blacks were the yellow, Hispanics were the blue, okay? We were kind of neck and neck and stuff, a little bit above us, but see how they've taken out. So they measured in 2040, you see what white's gonna be? If this continues to go on with population, this will be New Mexico, of New Mexico. That's what it's gonna be, okay? This is a population also just broken down where we are population in the United States for the 2000. And you see where it is for blacks, Hispanics, Asian, Native Americans, and whites. Okay, where they are now in 2000 from U.S. and California. Okay, they anticipate in 2040 it's going to look like this in U.S. and in California. Okay, people are always talking about the that Hillary, you know, won the popular vote. So you have to learn how to turn these conversations around these people, okay, and pivot. And I tell them, no, she did not, okay? Because Trump won 33 states. She won 17. I can't help it if you have more population there. He won the majority of the country because he won 33 states. 33-17. But what happens, they're using the population for those main cities, whatever, New York, California. I don't care about that. Red, he won majority of the country. So when they tell you something like that, tell them, no, she did not. And stop letting that lie fester out there.
And voter fraud.
So you say people, I say states. Okay? And this is the last thing we want to talk about here. I think it's the last video we have here. Blacks have been very successful in so many different cities and stuff. And I think you can turn that one on too. So many different cities have been very successful. And there was a Black Wall Street. I just found out about this in Oklahoma. And they had like businesses and churches and restaurants and grocery stores and movie theaters and private airplanes and hotels and banks. This was run by black people, okay? So what happened, and this is about the 1920s, we had different cities that were like that throughout the United States. White people got jealous for whatever reason. Black people over there mind their own business. So they decided to come through one night. This wasn't Republicans do that. Came through one night, okay, and they pretty much burnt this community down. Happened more than once in different cities, okay? It was the wealthiest black community in the United States, known as Black Wall Street. Fire bombs were dropped from airplanes and hundreds were killed. This massacre was not acknowledged in the state history records until 1996. This is the kind of, you can turn that on. This is the kind of thing, you can turn on. Sound, yeah. We have to deal with. So I think that's my last video there I had.
Didn't learn that in history.
You know, they don't teach that in history books.
No.
When I was growing up in history, we had like chapters and chapters of black history. Then it got to the point they gave you maybe a chapter, then maybe a paragraph, and then after that is like a sentence or whatever. They're talking about all these other groups of what we're doing. Now, let me tell you what black people had, and this is the last comment they're going to have here. We are Africans. That's we are first. We come from kings and warriors. As a people, that's we survive. The second reason we survive, because our unwavering faith and commitment to God. What we did, we walked away from God about 50 years ago. If it wasn't for black churches, there'd been no civil rights movement.
That's
Who
right.
do we think we are that we can just turn our back on God and you think you're going to be successful and you're going to prosper, okay? We're in this situation right now because we gave the middle finger to God, so we won't deal with you anymore. This was happening in our community. This is not who we are as a people. They did everything they could to us to destroy us, and we stood anyway. But nowadays, you see black people just being destroyed. We're being destroyed, being exterminated. But the fact that, like I said before, we lost our roots and we lost our connection to God. And if we don't get that back, guys, in another 50 years, they're going to say, remember the people that came over from Africa and that were here? What happened to them? Whatever. We're going to be a sentence maybe in a textbook. So at some point, the ministers, black community and stuff need to stand up. Now, my thing is this. It's not for black people to go out and confront no gang members. That is not our job. That's the government's job. You put crime, which came in drugs, which came in crime stuff, in these communities, you need to get them out of there. But what you need to do is scoop up some of these little brats that depending on the problem, you need to put them in military academies. You know, people have a right to live. So what I would do is create some state-of-the-art military academies, because you can clean out most of these jails. If you're in New York, you're going to North Dakota. You're going to learn how to fish. You're going to learn how to hunt. You're going to cook. You're going to school. You're going to college. And we're going to make something out of you. Okay? We need to shut down most of these prisons, because most of these kids have no business in there. Okay? Whatever. But we have to do something else. But you have to have real plans with that. Okay?
Yeah.
And so far, I don't really see that coming after either party. They're just letting this group die off. We would not allow white people, kids, to be killed like this. And tell you this, if a bunch of gang members went over to Beverly Hills right now and shot up a bunch of white kids, they'd have the military, they have the National Guard, the Navy, they'd be flying drones, they'd be dropping bombs on you. That's what would happen if they killed off some of y'all. But yet you let this carnage take place in this community every weekend. Now this poor woman died last week, Virginia, that the car ran on her? One. Okay, that same weekend we had 9 little kids killed in Chicago, 35 wounded, not one stinking word.
Nope.
How's these lives become more important than our lives? The reason they are because black people don't care about themselves. We didn't used to have this carnage in our neighborhood. We didn't have, if you got in trouble, that's what I tell people all the time, if Mike Brown was living when I was living, he'd still be alive. You know why? Because when he stole them cigarettes, whatever he stole from the grocery store, before he made it home, they didn't have telephones. They knew he'd stolen. Auntie would get him on the corner. She'd get him up, boys, little rubber, boy, give me a switch. Big Mama, which was his grandma, that's the next corner, that'd be your next beating. And before you got home, Papa you had 3 beatings going on, okay, before you got home. Then, along with that, then you would go back up to that grocery store, and what you do, you'd be working out all summer, cleaning that up. You would never steal anything else in your life again. That's what we did as a family. That's who we were. And until we get back those roots, we're going to do the same. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for, like I said, this is what I do for me. It doesn't have anything to do with you. I just want people to get involved, start studying, do your own research. History can be, it's there, but I mean, you got to pull what you need out of it. I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. But find your own purpose there, your own space. Get involved. Get in those books. And when people talk to you and address them, you'll know how to respond. Just one other thing I want to say, because I saw my friends standing here, whatever. So we did go to Arizona to Trump's rally. We didn't get in. We were outside. And it was so funny. We were in line, and the kids were just a couple of hundred. There was 20,000 people inside the event there, on walkers, on canes, with gray hair, whatever. These young whippersnappers across the street, what are you protesting about? So this one girl had a mask on. She came up, so this white guy sitting here, whatever, and he had this Trump thing in. So one of my friends was sitting here. She's about 6 feet. I was in the middle, and my other friend about 5 feet, whatever. She the rough one. So whatever. So the girl came over to us, whatever. Now we sitting right in his hip. She looked at him. She started cussing him out, giving him the finger, all kind of stuff. Girl, we had the BW look going. I said, I wish you would look this way. She wouldn't look at us. She wouldn't. She didn't want none of that going on. So my thing is, they know who to mess with, whatever, and don't. But you got kids that just don't have a clue, okay? And we have to start giving them a clue. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed it all. Sorry I was so rushed.
No,
thank you.
It's okay. Please, can you take questions?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, please. Oh, absolutely.
Somebody's taking photos, I will have to copy to get out. I usually give them out to the groups I'm with, yeah, so I just have to source, go back to source everything, and that takes a while getting that.
Questions, please.
Any more questions? Oh, go ahead.
We need you to run as a Republican against Maxine Waters.
We already have somebody running as Republican against Maxine Waters. Will you stand up, please, Miss Camper? Please go on the website, stand for Congress. But I do help her and stuff too. And any of my friends and buddies, we give this information to and stuff too. But I am a silent part in the background. Later on after the meeting, I'll have to tell you why we're film right now. I can't really tell you who I work for. Some people know me, know I do, but it's a secret. And because we got certain things going on,
Absolutely.
I'm very careful about.
That's understandable.
But some things I don't care about. They don't bother me.
Yes. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't have. Listen, I'm telling you people right now, I hate that social media crap. And let me tell you, now you know what I do. I don't have a I have a Facebook, I don't know how to use it. I don't know Instagramming, tweeting, nothing. My son says, Mom, you don't even pronounce it right. So you know I don't know what I'm talking about. I do need to set one up. I really do whatever, but I mean, I'm not into that. I'm old school. Pick up a phone, talk. I really don't like to text that much. When I text you, it's like a whole book. You know what I mean? It's like pages and pages of stuff. I don't know how to do the emoji junk and all that garbage. I just don't care about that.
How would you like to share? I'm sorry. We would like to share your presentation.
Some people are taping it, and I don't mind it going out somewhere. It doesn't matter to me. Put it wherever. Because facts are facts and what they are. Yeah, we're here.
How did you begin your research?
It was years ago. I started my own research, and I was a Democrat. All my friends, family, everything, were Democrat. And just like the church you're a member of, I said, well, they said these people are KKK, they're this way. I said, let me start studying and see if that's actually true. Someone just nodded at me. And when I started studying, I found out all the things they told me. I dispelled a lot of these missing rooms. I said, these things are missing, but people never go back and address them. When I did, I just like, I can't support this party, you know? And so I left them, but most of my friends are still are, and that's why I became a Republican. That's my brother, I got to call on him.
Yes, there's a movie out now, I haven't seen it, it hasn't come out yet, by Tom Cruise called American Made. How the U.S. government secretly was involved in drug trafficking.
Right.
I thought about that, and, you know, and he's the hero. But I thought, you know, where's that drugs going to?
Right.
I thought it was going back to this black community.
What's the name of the book again? I'm sorry.
This Tom Cruise movie coming out. Yeah.
Well, he's a hero by getting involved in the drugs trade, and that kind of thing. I think where the drugs ended up. I'm not going to see it, but
right.
This thing that ended up in the black community.
Right.
CIA operation.
Right. And when you bring that up, it's so weird you bring that up. Nothing, too. Like I said before, black people didn't go anywhere. Somebody put those drugs in their community, whatever. Along with that, too, it's real weird how when black people do heroin and opioids, whatever they call them, we're criminals. But when y'all do them, you got some health issues and they want to put you in legal thing. No, what you need to, your butts need to go to jail, just like black people. You get your help when you go to jail. But now all of a sudden it's a health issue when it's you guys, but when it's us, it's good. And that's what black people see, that kind of stuff. That's what they're not really, you know, feeling a lot of y'all sometimes because of that. They want to have some equal justice around the world here.
You know, Donald Trump got more black voters to vote for him than previous Republican candidates, but he still only got 9%. What the hell can be done about that?
A lot of them didn't vote and nothing to.
No. Of the ones that voted.
I know.
He only got 9%.
Right, but when you see what the information I'm telling you right now too, This information, people don't research and know anything anymore. They read a headline and they believe that. And your Democrats know that. They put a good headline out, that's all you see, and you move on to something else. You never dig down the weeds, and that's what kids are never done. They never dig down the weeds to really get this real story. Sometimes you read a headline, those you read, you get down the story, it don't have nothing to do with that headline. But if you already saw the headline, you wouldn't know that.
That's right.
I'd like to recommend you should start an organization where you're training young people from the black community to learn what you have learned, so they can go out into their schools and and do the same thing, because you're just one person. You can only be in one place at one time. But if you would train more people to do what you just did tonight, it would be really
The
great.
Lord has worked with me over the last 2 years to get to where I am right now, and what's happening, He's starting to open doors. I have people from the NAACP want me to come do a presentation, from the Urban League, now
Good.
whatever. Black ministers, there's like 2 groups in these 2 different cities, 30 in one, 50 in the other ones. They heard about me, they want me to come. So it's slowly happening. What happened, God had to lay a framework first and a foundation, and now then it had to be the right time.
Yeah.
Not my time, is God's timing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something that I experienced the other day. I went to Universal Studios to see a viewing of the documentaries. And it was a young lady named Ashley Harris, and she's a young black producer. And she is producing a documentary currently now called Promised Land, which is about the black farmers that used to be in the United States. I think it was in 1910, there was 1 million black farmers. Right now, currently today, there's only 16,000 because all their land and all their farms were seized from them. So this is an experience that in the details that we're trying to bring to people to understand how blacks contributed to this country and how we are currently being basically walked over by other people that have infiltrated our country, and it's not fair to us and our families. So I hope you take this information that she communicated to you and research and communicate it to the other Americans, because we're Americans too. We may be brown, but we're Americans also.
I think I saw a gentleman up here first. I'll get back to you. Put the hat on.
Yeah, I have 2 points. One, I think you made a really nice presentation. There's lots of good stuff in it. And if you could get that, not you necessarily yourself, but get one of your friends who's good at social stuff and IT and that stuff, you could probably reach hundreds of thousands of people if you put that on YouTube.
Millions.
Yes.
Well,
Well, that's what I'm going to do for you.
And me too.
Right now.
No, that's another problem. Blacks can't get funding. That's another problem. Let's be clear about that too.
Go, you got one more question
Know
too?
somebody that knows how to do that stuff, and maybe they could work on it in their spare time or something. And the other point I want to make is, I'm fascinated by the story that you told about blacks having a large swath of land reserved for them after the Civil War. Do you know what the name of that project was?
40 acres and a mule.
It was actually called that?
Yeah, 40 acres and a mule.
Okay, so I can just go on the internet and look
They
at
got the 40 acres first, and then they came back and said, what else would you like, whatever. They said, well, we want a mule too. So that was added on later, yeah. Go ahead, Miss Chanel.
I just want to say that to the gentleman that voted 9%, it was more than that voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I work in the black community. A lot of blacks voted for Trump and did not tell anyone. When they went in that booth, they voted for Trump. And blacks in this room know that. They were not Republicans, but they voted for Trump.
But numbers, he only got 9% of the 100%.
No, that's what you heard in the media.
Right.
It's not
I heard
it was
25%.
more
No, that's
than
Hispanics.
9%
He got-
that voted for Trump.
Oh, I'm sorry. The gentleman right here has hand up a while.
We got a lot of hands up. We want to get everybody.
Right here.
Go ahead, Gary.
First of all, I know you've been
Gary, go ahead.
Go ahead.
you've been listening to Larry Elder.
Not very often, but I know who he is.
Yeah. The voter fraud, you need to bring up voter fraud in your little presentation work in a slide. We
Yes.
already know that
Right.
hundreds,
There's no way Hillary won it.
Yeah.
And it's proven that Trump is
Right.
is on that.
And people say this sometimes, but if we really address what needs to be addressed, we'll be here 3 months talking about it. It's so much,
In the 60s, I worked with a black guy, I forgot his name, and he used to tell me, he made a joke, he was a great guy, we related, we were friends, that the Mexicans were pushing them out of their sort of territory, if you will. The Mexicans were coming in.
Boyle Heights, they bombed the blacks out of their neighborhood. Yeah. Boyle
Then
Heights.
was Azusa as well.
Torrance, yeah, they're pushing the blacks out of our community. So, and guess where the blacks are going? On Skid Row.
Yeah, well, that ain't right.
Yes, it's not.
No, it's not.
Next.
I just had a question you would like to, if you care to touch on the idea, okay, there are many of the blacks are now, today, supporting conversion of the Democratic Party. We can see some changes. A friend of mine worked for among the and got some increased votes in North Carolina. Might have carried North Carolina for Trump. I'd like to know how it changed, why it changed, because I teach history. I know in the beginning, the Republican, the blacks were definitely Republican, but it changed.
Like we said, a lot of stuff took place in the 60s, and majority of stuff, you start giving people free stuff. I said we sold our soul for 30 pieces of silver. The problem is we never had that before. So if you never had money, you never had really a car, you had all this stuff, and somebody comes to start asking you, guys, you get food stamps, you can get housing, all this kind of stuff. We always had to work for everything. It made it easy for us, but what it did is made us like servants to these people, and we became slaves to all this free stuff that we had never got before. So I don't really fault them, but because you've never had it before, it's hard for you to turn it down. And that's pretty much what happened to us. A friend of mine, I was talking to her one day, and we have a discussion, because people always ask me, why are you a Republican? And I'm just because I know that. I said, why are you a Democrat? And so we started having a conversation. We ran down everything with her when President Obama stuff was in, and she talked about that. And at the end of that conversation, she finally said, at the end, especially when I told her, I said, we said, well, I just voted for him because he was black. I said, isn't that what Martin Luther King told you not to do? So you have to know how to pivot for that light bulb to come on, and make people start thinking for themselves and then making their own decision. I'm not telling you to do what I did, but at least read, understand, and study. Know why you're voting the way you vote. Know why you're going to that church. All that kind of stuff that people used to know and be involved in, have an intelligent conversation. You can't have a intelligent conversation with anybody anymore because they don't know nothing, especially what I call these bougie babies. That's my word for it. You have a question, so you stand up.
Yeah, I love your presentation.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Are you able to make such a presentation at the NAACP?
I've actually had 2 invites coming up.
Please.
Right.
This is wonderful.
And it's like I said, we set the ground work and just opening doors, whatever. Now people are hearing about it and like they're inviting me to come. I have another one at the Rose Republicans this Tuesday. When I get here, somebody has to come, hey, we meet this group. But now doors of black people start opening up that never were before. There's like, they're hurting. It's like that last party there to say they can do anything for us, whatever. They're willing to listen to what Republicans say, but you have to have a good message and a good messenger. How are you going to help me get out of the situation I'm in? They don't want to hear no more pie in the sky. You know? We need some good help.
Unified too. You
yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, ma'am.
What improved your presentation, and it was very good, by the way, is maybe citations at the end. I know Ann Coulter had a book out with like
yeah, this is not a book, but I do have a bibliography page that
that's
I do.
A great idea.
So when I send it out to people and I decide to send it out, it takes a long time. I mean, I have my own facts that I've done, but I have to go through and really do a citation on everything, whatever. So I have everything, my sites, but I have to do that. I just haven't finished it up yet. So I'm about halfway through it. But before I send it out, I want to be able to have that bibliography table with all the citations so people know where to get the information from.
How do we follow you? How do we know where you're
Call me on my phone or text me.
Yes, I want to know what she does in
What's your phone number?
I'll give it to you. I don't mind giving it to you. I'll talk to you about it later.
Oh, yeah. I made that mistake.
Yeah. Do you have a question? Yes, I can. No? Okay.
There's a gentleman over there who had a question.
Can you tell them about the missing black girls?
I haven't done as much research on it, but they said there's hundreds of black girls that are missing down in, was it Chicago? And DC, whatever. Well, that's right. So we're like, where's all the outrage about this trying to find, because there's a lot of sex trafficking going on, a lot of things that nobody's paying any attention to. Again, like I said, you would not let this kind of carnage or disappearance go on in some of these other communities, you let 1 or 2 people get kidnapped, you got everybody in the police force, the National Guard, the Army, everything. But we can have hundreds of black kids disappear just off the face of earth, don't hear a word about it. But I fought those black politicians, whatever, too. They don't make it an issue. These are your people, your district, and just recently I heard too that we have with the NAACP got the nerve talking about we gonna be suing Donald Trump because of DACA. Yeah. Shut up!
Oh my! Isn't that insane?
Somebody can sue you for what's going on in these inner cities. Yeah. But nobody ever calls them out, and everybody can't talk to them. It takes a certain kind of person to talk, even to black people, whatever. They ain't gonna listen to everybody. Okay? I'm sorry. The other one was up there with Donald Trump, whatever. She just don't, you know. You have to be able to connect. Some people can do that connection. You've got to kind of have that Medea thing going on too, you know, whatever, with your stick. Some people were going up to the college, whatever, this white guy's going. He said, we get there and there, you know, the kids just booing us down, spitting on us, all kinds of stuff. We can't do that. I said, you know what? You need to take some of us with you. Because we went to a meeting at, UCLA, and Dinesh D'Souza was speaking. And so they were kind of into the presentation, whatever, and they said, well, that's the end of the questions. And my little friend over here was saying, oh, no, that is not. You going to listen to what we got to say, whatever. And so she went on so for a minute, whatever, this Ness was sitting there. Them little boy, about 3 of them were in front of her, they slid back like this and slid right to them seats and sit down. There's certain folks they don't want to mess with, and them little bougie babies, a group they don't want to mess with is black women that are 50 years and older. So we do some butt kicking still. When I go somewhere, I have my, I wish you would. When I went to UCLA, there's a whole group of kids and stuff were there, and I said, well, I'm going over this Vanessa Shoes thing. For about 20 of them, they almost held my hand, walked me over there, opened the door, all kind of stuff, whatever. I said, thank you very much. Well, we could have had a conversation, but certain people they'll listen to, certain people they won't. But people like me, they'll still listen to with the right message and the right messenger. We can start getting it out and just open it up to a lot of different people. And now that's happening. Now the groundwork is laid. And like I said before, I hope I don't lose my job behind it, but some of you guys know who I work for. But, you know, at this point, at 60, I don't give a crap. You know, I just have to care what I get a little, you know, check coming in. But I'm just like, you know, I'm going to say the Lord's put this on my heart, and I'm just going to keep putting it, because I'm trying to save as many of these kids as I can that are just getting killed like rabid dogs on the street every day of the week. Mm-hmm. That's my mission.
The retort I often get from black people who are like staunch Democrats about, you know, Republicans had this history of civil rights. They love to play the big switch card. How do you respond to it?
No. That's why I just had this history lesson with you. When did that switch take place? For 400 years, they've been doing the same thing. Did it take place when they did the KKK or the Jim Crow or took our land away from us? Up to 50 years ago, did it switch when LBJ came through and pretty much destroyed our family? Or did the switch take place when, you know, we had the abortion issue coming on and 20 million have been aborted, whatever? Based on Margaret Sanger, that was her dream.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah, so nothing. So when did the switch take place? Because I haven't seen it.
This is what I'm talking about. So you had the South that was solidly Democrat, and it's become solidly Republican. Now, how do you explain that to them?
I don't get into that. This is what I do. No, I'm telling you, this is what I do and what I talk about.
Okay.
I'm not a historian. I know, but I'm not a historian. If you want to get that deep into it, they need to study and they need to find their own history. This is what I talk about, and what I do is try to dispel a lot of myths and rumors that have been told, but I don't get into when party switch, who is doing this, because I don't care. This is what I talk about, dispelling a lot of those myths, whatever. You take this information, you do whatever the hell you want to do with it, you do your own research, then you come up with your answers. And then you start giving some presentation. That's what I tell them. That ain't my job. I met him actually when DV, we met one time, and I walked him in, and I said, listen, you were looking over my shoulder when you did your movie, whatever, because everything you were talking about, it was in my presentation. So it made me feel kind of good that he had done all the research, and pretty much we were in alignment, whatever. Because sometimes you do it yourself, but you got to hear from somebody else. And so that was good to be able to do that. But do what you do. You can't know everything about everything. You got to find your voice and what's important to you. So if you can only talk about 3 issues, you talk about them 3 issues. If you can talk about more, but the more you learn, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become, then you'll be able to talk to people at your level as what your knowledge is.
I have a question. Aren't the majority of the leaders of the NAACP, aren't they Democrats?
Yes.
So, but they've invited you to come. That's great.
That is good.
Do you think you'll change their mind?
I don't care. You got to get to the point that you really just don't care. My job and your job, and what I had to figure this out, is to plant the seed, period. Once you plant it, you have no idea what's going to happen. They may stand in the room and just boo you, okay?
That's true.
But that one person over in the room heard you.
Yeah.
You never know where that's going to come. And I put it this way. My mom was the only child. My dad had like 10 or 12 then, whatever. Out of her one seed came, she had 5 boys and 1 girl. The thing I told my daddy had me number 4, where they kept going, whatever, because my brothers, whatever, they wouldn't be. They're good guys, whatever, but women do the majority of, a lot of other stuff, too, they do. But you just, with this situation as far as the kids and stuff concerned, and what you have to do what you do. Plant your seed like mom did now she got 12, 13 grandkids. None of them had no great-grands yet. She's pretty upset about that because mostly all her friends now are great-grandkids, whatever. But plant it, and you never know what's going to come for it. You may not even be here to see it. But somebody heard you. And that's all you can do. So this other stuff, I don't even stress out about this stuff. Whatever. Hakuna Matata. Whatever. Somebody say something, okay, well, you didn't do that, and so you do your own thing, you get your own, and sometimes I get a little offended, get your own president, do your own thing. This is what my study led me to. Your study may lead you to stay exactly where you are or be something different, but be able to defend your position, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
I remember 20 or so years ago, talking about American made, Maxine Waters got all up in arms about that drug thing with Barry Seal. And then she got a visit from the Clintons, and all of a sudden, that didn't matter anymore. Remember that?
No. But 20 years ago, I know.
That's a fact.
I was my mind was completely somewhere else. But that criminal enterprise need to be investigated. Because they got a whole lot of stuff going up in that Democratic Party that happened. They talk about Republicans, but them Democrats are in a lot of dirt. Okay? But nobody's reading, but somebody need to be the person that exposed that. But if you're not the right messenger, people are not going to hear you.
Yeah.
You've got to be the right person and the right messenger that can put that out. Now, I go speak sometime, and one thing I have, I've been blessed, it's a blessing I have in God. I speak, I'm credible, You may not be, that may not be who you are, maybe with your friends, whatever, but I know that's my gift from God, and I have the ability to do that. I'll speak, sometime I'll be in a room full of Democrats, I'm the only Republican, okay? I walked in my friend's party about a month ago, I walked in my Make America Great Again hat on, okay? And walked in there, just wait, please say something to me. I was in one of them, not a move. I want you to say something so I can jump on you and ask me, why are you wearing that hat?
Yeah.
So I can jump on you and tell you about this. But see, they know me long enough that they don't want to know them as Ashley. Because if you know your information, your facts, they can't do nothing with you.
That's right.
So I wear my hat around my friends, stuff like that too, and they just say, they know who I am, what I'm all about stuff too, and they've had enough or whatever, and they still stay where they are. My husband right now going to the door, he's a Democrat staunch. With me and him like James Carville and Mary Badley. We need a reality show. It is too funny. And sometimes we get so upset when we get mad, we get too much. I just tell him, listen, you should have to have him get away from me. Okay? Because he's heard enough of this and still not changed, but that's his thing. It doesn't mean anything to him and stuff, So you can't reach everybody.
I just had a thought right now. People from your community, they know these facts.
No, they don't. That's a problem.
They don't?
They don't have a clue.
They haven't heard it no, they don't. They wouldn't know. You ask them about stuff like that. If you ask most black people right now, who were the KKK, the Republicans? Who were the Jim Crow people, the Republicans? Everything right now that's really Democrat, they would have thought the Republicans, because that's when they've been brainwashed to know that. Now, but in the 50s or before, we knew better because we actually studied history. These kids don't have a clue. You walk up and ask them one time, and because I think when Trump was being elected, I heard some little black kids saying, "Oh, he's gonna put us back in chains and put him back on a slave ship." What 8, 9? What are you talking about?
I know.
You don't know what you're saying. Somebody.